On June 26, 2014, the Denver Nuggets would make a decision that would change their franchise forever. During a Taco Bell commercial, they drafted a Serbian player named Nikola Jokic with the 41st pick in the 2014 NBA draft. By his third year, Jokic had already established himself as one of the top centers in the league, and thanks to that dominance, the Nuggets are one of the top teams in the Western Conference. This is the second straight year that the Nuggets are going to finish as a top 3 seed in the West. Despite the Nuggets' excellent success in the regular season, few NBA fans view this team as a true contender for the NBA championship. Last year, the Nuggets barely got by the Spurs in the first round and lost to the Trail Blazers in the second round. This year, the Nuggets should get by whoever they meet in the first round, but more than likely, they don't have the firepower to compete with the true juggernauts in the West, the Lakers and the Clippers. But while the Nuggets don't look like a championship team yet, when you really analyze the young talent on the team, you realize the Nuggets not only have the makings to be a championship team, but a potential dynasty. So in this video, I'm going to explain why the Nuggets are a potential dynasty in the 2020s decade. But before we continue, if you enjoy videos like this, please like the video and subscribe, as your support really helps me to produce more dope content. Now let's continue. The main reason why the Nuggets are a potential dynasty is because of their core four of Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Bol, and Jamal Murray. With these young guys, the Nuggets have a potential to have 4 All-Stars at once. The last time the league saw a team with 4 All-Stars, that team won 2 straight NBA championships and got to 3 straight NBA finals. The Nuggets have a chance to have 4 All-Stars that they drafted. Now let's go in depth into all of these young guys. The best fact about Nikola Jokic is that he's arguably the best center in the league and he's only 25 years old, which suggests that he's only going to get better. This season, Jokic is averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists a game while shooting 53% from the field, 31% from 3, and 82% from the free throw line, which are incredible all-around numbers. Jokic is a legitimate point center. It's extremely rare that a center is a team's primary playmaker, especially in the modern NBA, but Jokic is that special. He's got really good scoring moves on the block, and he's got ridiculous court vision. Jokic is able to find his teammates fast, and when they cut to the basket and get open, Jokic quickly dimes them for a sweet dish. He could even bring the ball up the floor to set up the team offense or to find his teammates on the fast break. Jokic's playmaking ability is a sight to behold. He just has that once-in-a-generation passing ability that most players in the league don't have. He's regularly able to make no-look passes and behind-the-back passes for beautiful dimes. Defensively, Jokic is a lot better on that end than a lot of casual NBA fans would think. He's not a great defender, but he's actually a slight positive on the defensive end. Obviously, he's not a shot blocker, as he only averages 0.6 blocks a game, and because he isn't very agile, he's not good defending the perimeter. Jokic's physical limitations hurt him on that end, but when he doesn't have an athleticism, he makes up for it in high motor and basketball IQ. Jokic has a long 7'3" wingspan and very fast hands, and because of that, he often gets deflections and steals. He plays the passing lanes really well, and if the ball is exposed near him, he can strip the ball away really fast. Jokic's fast hands are elite, and the stats prove it. Jokic is tied for 30th in the league in steals per game at 1.2 steals a game. Jokic is also a strong defensive rebounder as he pulls in 8 defensive rebounds a game. So as we can see, Jokic isn't elite defensively, but he's actually a pretty solid defender. When looking at the top players in the league, most fans probably wouldn't put Jokic in their top 5, but in their top 10. But in the upcoming years, Jokic can break into that top 5 if he continues improving. Skinny Jokic has become a joke, but I think this is great for Jokic's career. Slimming down will make Jokic a lot more athletic and will help him to move a lot faster. This should help Jokic on both ends of the floor. On offense, this new agility should help Jokic to drive by opponents a lot easier, especially when matched up against strong setters that can defend his post-ups, and this should help him to score a lot better as a roll man. On defense, Jokic should be able to defend the perimeter a bit better and be a better rim protector now that he can probably rotate a lot faster. This work that Jokic has put on his body could already be paying off, as in the Orlando bubble, discounting the loss to the Blazers where he only played 23 minutes a game, Jokic is averaging 26 points, 8.5 boards, and 8.5 assists a game. Jokic is already a big-time player, but if he continues to work on his body, he could be one of the top 5 players, which bodes well for the Nuggets going forward. The next young player I want to talk about is Michael Porter Jr. I already made a video on Michael Porter Jr., and if you want to watch that, I'll leave a link in the description. But the Nuggets look like they easily have a potential superstar in their hands. If you look at Michael Porter Jr.'s game log, he's been killing it in the last 4 games, scoring just about 30 in each of his last 4 games while doing it efficiently. Porter Jr.'s dominance is probably having the teams that passed on him kicking themselves. The Nuggets were able to draft him with the 14th pick because teams were scared that Porter Jr. would never realize his potential due to his back injury. Well, the Nuggets look like geniuses because they drafted a player that most teams were scared to draft, rested him his entire rookie year, and now he's a total stud. In just his first year playing, Porter Jr. is already a scoring machine. His outside shot is cash, as he shot 44% from 3 this year. At his size at 6'10 with a 7-foot wingspan, few perimeter defenders can really bother his shot. Porter Jr. makes him contested threes regularly, as if the defender isn't even there. He's a mismatch for any defender. Too big for most perimeter players to guard, but also too fast for big men to cover. Porter Jr. also knows how to use that size to be an efficient scorer in the paint. Thanks to his great size and finishing moves, Porter Jr. shoots 62% within 5 feet of the basket. Porter Jr. is also a beast on the glass. In his last 4 games, Porter Jr. is getting over 11 rebounds a game. Porter Jr. was already really good, but now Mike Malone is finally giving him minutes and Porter Jr. is producing. What's also really great news about Porter Jr. is that he complements Nikola Jokic so well. If you've been watching these Nuggets games, Jokic has been fighting Porter Jr. with nice passes on cuts to the rim and off-ball action. They're clearly developing a chemistry. If the Nuggets become a dynasty, this is the duo that will get them to that level. Between Jokic and Porter Jr., the Nuggets can have 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA in as little as 2 to 3 years. But it doesn't end there for the Denver Nuggets. The next player in the Nuggets core 4 is Bol Bol. This is another player that teams passed on in the draft because of injury concerns, and the Nuggets are making those teams regret it. I honestly think that if Bol Bol had stayed healthy for Oregon, he would have been a top 5 draft pick because he was killing it. In 9 games, Bol Bol averaged 21 points, almost 10 boards, and 2.7 blocks a game on 56% shooting from the field and a ridiculous 52% from 3. Bol Bol clearly looked like the next unicorn, but the reason that Bol Bol was passed on by so many teams in the draft was because of a foot injury that caused him to miss the rest of the season. 7-footers that suffer these type of foot injuries often have injury-riddled careers, so it makes sense why teams wouldn't want to take a chance on him when other prospects were available. Well, the Nuggets did take a chance on him, and now it looks like it's paying off. The Nuggets kept Bol Bol in the G League for most of the regular season, and now they're finally playing him. In the Nuggets open scrimmage game, Bol Bol notched 15 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. Nothing crazy, but Bol Bol was really flashing that potential that had teams high on him before he fractured his foot. Bol Bol can put the ball on the floor and get to the basket, and at his size, he's an efficient scorer at the rim. He's also the rare 7-footer that can knock down the 3 ball at a high clip. On defense, at 7'2", with a monstrous 7'8" wingspan, Bol Bol can be one of the elite rim protectors in this league on par with Rudy Gobert. And with his agility, he should be able to defend perimeter players as well. Thanks to his outside shooting, Bol Bol can easily be a stretch 4. This makes him potentially a great complement to Nikola Jokic, as it's easy to see him playing that stretch 4 role with Jokic at center. We know Jokic has limitations as a rim protector, so Bol Bol can help to mitigate that with his abilities as a shot blocker. Bol Bol still needs to put on weight as he's only 220 pounds, and he needs to continue working on his game, but in 2 to 3 years, he could be a very special player. What's great about the Nuggets is that they could potentially keep him healthy throughout his career by just using him as a 3rd or 4th option. By playing him behind Jokic and Porter Jr., Bol Bol won't suffer the wear and tear that could potentially derail his career. The last member of the Nuggets core four is Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is quietly becoming one of the top point guards in the NBA. This season, Murray put up nice stats, averaging 19 points and 5 assists a game, on 45% shooting from the field, 35% from three, and 89% from the free throw line. Jamal Murray is a really good shot creator. He could get to the rim with ease and finish at the rim, and he could create his own shot in the mid-range and from three. Murray has also picked it up on defense this year, becoming a much better on-ball and off-ball defender. Jamal Murray is very good, but he hasn't reached that all-star level yet. He's still pretty inconsistent. Now, Jamal Murray does have a couple of 40-point games in his career, but he also has a lot of games that's been underwhelming. In order to be an all-star, Jamal Murray has to dominate on a regular basis. He also needs to improve as a playmaker. As the team's point guard, even with Nikola Jokic on his team, he needs to do better than just 5 assists a game. In order for Murray's scoring to get to the next level, he needs to improve his shot selection. An issue with Murray is that he tends to fall in love with that mid-range jump shot. He's good at them, but the most efficient shots on the court are in the paint and at the three-point line. Murray is a really good finisher as he shoots 61% within 5 feet, but Murray needs to focus more on getting shots at the rim and at the three-point line, and this will make his game a lot more efficient. As we can see from Jamal Murray's shot chart this season, the majority of his shots seem to be coming from the mid-range. In those pick and rolls with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray loves to come in and take those mid-range shots. But if he would use those pick and rolls to get three-pointers off the dribble like Damian Lillard does, it would take his game to the next level. Murray isn't that all-star level player yet, but at just 23 years old, he has time to improve his weaknesses and become one of the top 5 point guards. Murray can become a great number 2 option to Jokic, but even if that never happens, that's okay, because if he doesn't, Michael Porter Jr. may be that great second option, and Murray can be a great number 3. If these 4 young guys maximize their potential, the Nuggets will become a championship team and potentially a dynasty. But the Nuggets can't just rely on their main core of players. In order to be a true championship team, there has to be a good supporting cast. The Nuggets have good role players on the team. Will Barton is low-key one of the best 6 men in the league as he averages 15 points per game off the Nuggets bench. Will Barton still has another year left on his contract, but if the Nuggets were smart, they would extend him before he becomes a free agent because he's a really good spark plug off the bench, and that's very valuable for a contender. Monte Morris is a really good backup point guard for the Nuggets, and they also have other good role players on the team like Mason Plumlee and Jeremy Grant. But the Nuggets can't keep everyone, as this is a team that will find itself over the cap for years to come. The way for the Nuggets to address this issue is through the use of draft picks. The Nuggets own the Rockets pick in this upcoming draft, and they own all their first-round picks going forward. Now, draft picks are valuable assets for contenders because they can use it to draft quality talent, or they can trade it for an established veteran. The Rockets pick is projected to be 24th right now, and if I were the Nuggets, I would use that pick to draft Tyler Bey. Bey is a great defensive player as he was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year this season, and he's a developing shooter. He did shoot 43% from 3 this year, but it was on pretty low volume. Bey would be a great selection for the Nuggets, especially since Jeremy Grant might leave in the offseason. This gives the Nuggets a versatile defender who could be a great fit alongside their core of players. And in the coming seasons, the Nuggets can continue to draft players who could be great fits on the team. As we can see with the second round selections of Jokic and Bol Bol, the Nuggets are pretty good at finding talent late in the draft. With this insane young talent on the team, the Nuggets have everything going for them to be a team that wins multiple titles throughout the 2020s decade. Their core 4 of Jokic, Bol Bol, Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. all have the potential to become great players, and the Nuggets will have the assets to build around them going forward. Don't be surprised if the Nuggets are the NBA champions in the 2023 season. But with that said, that's going to be the end of the video. Are the Nuggets a future dynasty? Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.